No, that's it. There's nobody waiting. So, what we're going to do today, we'll just go around and see how everybody's doing because it's the new year, it's January, and how are you doing these early days of January? And then, as I said in the email, what I want to do is just do something slightly different from what we usually do. You can blame Nikki for this. But actually, it's turned out when we talked about it, which was I think in December, I hadn't paid too much attention to January, but there's something very liminal about this January. There's so much flux seems to be around. I think some of it is the planetary alignments, which are right now, or certainly yesterday and into today, were definitely about intention setting and what you want to do with your intentions. But 2025 was the end of a 9-year. No, it's not being live streamed. It's Fathom. It's my record take. Doesn't live stream anyway. Doesn't go anywhere. And let me just pause it anyway. You're in different groups. Some of you are in the group coaching group that I run. Some of you are in the Facebook group, so it's different. You'll have seen this. You may or may not have seen what I'm going to talk about. So I will just. It's a recap. So the reference to me writing down what the intention setting was all about. What I was writing was that so there are 4 prerequisites for change. If you want change to stick, then basically there are 4 conditions that you need to meet in order to make it stick. And I know some of you have come across this before, and for some of you it's like, oh, okay. So the first one is clarity of the intention, because most of us, and I include myself with this one, in fact, I include myself with all of them. Many of us, we're good at setting dreams. We're good at dreaming. We come up with an idea, and it's a dream, but we don't put much specificity around it. There's not much clarity. And we don't ask ourselves the really important question of, how will I know when I've got it? And if you put a vague dream or intention out there, how will you know when you've got it? So that would be the first thing that I invite you to do whenever you're doing any kind of goal setting, whether you do it with SMART goals, whether you do it with the one or many way, where you take your queen, you go out into the future as your queen and then you look back. However you might choose to do it, at least have that question in mind. How will I know when I've got it? Because otherwise, how do you know when to celebrate? And celebration and gratitude are really important for reinforcing change and reminding our unconscious mind that making the change is good and nice and we like this. It's something worth doing. So having some clarity around your attention, even if the intention starts in a vague kind of way, at least putting some clarity around it. The next thing then is releasing the baggage. So the baggage might be old stuck emotions. It might be somebody you need to forgive. It might be old beliefs you have about yourself or how the world works. Those things that hold you back from achieving the goals that you want to achieve. So release your baggage. And this is part of what the Sorceress Secret is about. Most of our meditations actually are about releasing baggage. It's different months we do it in a different way, different sorts of baggage, but it's about releasing the baggage, keeping the baggage down. The third thing then is focus/attention. So, and the question, and I know, I remember, Kathy, you responded to this one, is asking yourself, whatever you're doing, how is this in line? How is this in line with my purpose? How is this supporting my intention or intentions? So if you're doom scrolling, just ask the question, how does it support my purpose? How does it support my intention or intentions? And the more your intentions are aligned with your purpose, the easier that becomes as well. So actually, I probably ought to add to the intention setting bit. It's worth, when you are setting intentions, just having that little check-in. Does this support my purpose? Is this aligned to my purpose? If it's not, it might be fine, but it's just a check. Because some things are worth doing and some things aren't. So focus slash attention. So it's not necessarily spending the whole time thinking about your intention. I mean, I have been doing that lately. I decided that I wanted to do something about my eating habits because I've got an autoimmune condition and my skin goes bonkers and I'm overweight, you know, all the list of things, list of reasons why it'd be good to pay attention. And I have to admit, I have been a bit obsessive. I have been very focused on this. I've got results because I've been focused. But probably I've been a bit, I've pushed focus to obsession, which isn't necessarily healthy anyway. But so it's not necessarily about being obsessed the whole time about this intention, but at least having it in awareness. Because yes, we give things up to source, and it's great to give things up to source. Let source direct it. Let source bring in the energy. But if you don't if you just leave everything to source and you don't and you never pay attention, then you make it quite hard for source, really. So periodically, at least reviewing or paying attention, how am I doing with that one? And then the fourth thing is taking action, because again, source might bring in shed loads of energy, but if you don't actually take appropriate action to make the intention happen, then it's almost like you're not working with source, you're almost working against source. So what actions do you need to take in order to make the thing happen, whatever the thing is, whatever the intention is? So that was what Marilyn was talking about. So I wrote these things down. That's what it was. That was what I was talking about. And if you're on the group in the group coaching last week, we also talked about it there. Because it does go hand in hand with attention setting, with intention setting. So any questions on that? No? Cool. Good. Alrighty. So what we'll do now is we'll do some intention setting or clarification. And as I say, we'll be putting them out in the future. But my big question to you is, you may need to actually identify the intentions. But even if you've already identified the intentions, how do you know when you'll have it? What will you see, hear, feel, say to yourself? What, if you like, is the last step? So, for example, let's say, for those of you who have business, you'd set an intention to call in a new client or to call in a sum of money. How will you know when you have it? Is it you've signed the contract? Is it just the client says yes? Is it's the first session with the client? If you're calling in money, how do you know you have it? Is it the money appearing in your bank? Actually, physically, you look at your bank statement. Oh, yes, there it is. Or you've had a notification, because banks are really good at notifying you when when money's come in. You've got the notification from the bank, money in. Or is it something different? And it'll be different for each of you. All these things will be different for each of you. How do you know when you've got it? What's the last step? How will I absolutely know? Yes, this has happened. So identifying intentions, identifying how you'll know when you have it, and what sort of time scales are you looking at? It is always good to put in dates because you can always, the thing is, if you put in dates, you may go, well, I'm not going to put in a date because I'm just not sure. But at least if you put in a date, you're more likely to review it. You're more likely to go back and say, okay, I put that date. How did I do? And you may find that you get things sooner than you thought. So, so I have a, a little story to share. This was the first time I came across this particular way of putting intentions out into the future, and it was a Huna related training, and we were doing this, and um, there were two things that I decided to put out into my future, and one was I'd heard about Huna Level One on this training because one of the things they were doing was marketing a Huna Level One, which, by the way, I am running a virtual one at the end of February. But and I went, oh, Huna Level One in Hawaii. Yeah, I'll put that into my future. I'll put it in. This was, I think it was April time where we did this course. I'll put it in for July, um, said I. And the other thing I thought I'll put in for July, because I was only working, I didn't want to work on too long timescales, was I thought, okay, yes, I'd like to, it's July and I'm driving a Mazda, it was the Mazda sports car, TRX, I think. I haven't paid for it. It's not no money. I have not given any money of mine in order to drive this thing, but I'm driving it and it's just great. And I'm going down the motorway and it's just brilliant. And that was kind of my joke one that the Hawaii the going to Huna one was more serious. The car was more of a joke. Anyway, by the time we get to July, I realized that it's a bit of an impossible goal because they only run Huna in, at that time it was October and March. So to say I'm going to be in Huna in July is like, yep, that ain't going to happen because they don't. So that one was that's another that's another thing. I haven't put it in the list of requisites for change, but do make sure it is actually like, it's achievable that way. Um, so that one, yeah, that wasn't going to happen. Anyway, I was doing some work with my boss, and we were doing some work up in the Manchester area. We were going to visit a client up in the Manchester area, and we booked a car, and we got up there, went to the airport to pick up the car, and there'd been a train strike. So people were holding on to their cars, their rental cars, longer than they'd actually booked them. So they said, "Oh, really sorry, we haven't got your car." But they said, "What we have got, and we'll give it to you complimentary." Said, "But we're terribly sorry, it's a sports car." And so the boss said, "That's fine, we'll have it." So off we go. And he says, do you want to drive first, Jane? And I went, oh, and I looked at the car, and it was a sports car. And I was like, oh, yes, yes, yes. And I'm driving along the motorway, and I suddenly went, oh my God. The only thing that was wrong was it was the wrong color. I had a kind of metallic blue and it was white. But all the rest of it, no money. I had not given out money. There I was driving down the motorway, enjoying, just enjoying it. And it was like, this stuff works. Even on the silly stuff, even on the things that you put in just to kind of like, well, it's an exercise and I'll put this in just cause. So I encourage you to put things that, yeah, that are delights, not just serious stuff. Put in delights, include delights in your intentions. Yeah. So I'm going to put some meditation music on and give you a little time just to add anything, change anything, add any bits and pieces, particularly how will you know when you got it. So we'll do that. And so we'll do about 10 minutes. Mhm. You'll hear the music in a minute when I've shared it. Oh. There you go. I'll turn it down a little bit. There might be a little bit too much breeze. Okay, got about another minute, and then we'll bring it to a close. Okay, so I'm just gonna pause the music there. And of course, you can always come back. You can always come back to the recording, and if you want to take this further, do it with the recording. Because everybody's got something that they can take forward into a meditation. Yeah, it's great. Okay, so the meditation is a fairly simple process. And basically what I'll do is I'm going to invite you to bring to your mind's eye a picture of the very last step, the how do you know you've got it? And when we'll take that picture and then we'll energize it and we'll drop it out into the future. Now, one of the things that is important in goal setting is to let go of any attachment to it. Because very often what happens is we're so attached to goals that our energy becomes quite like mine has, I suppose, with the healthier eating program. We can get a little bit obsessed and attached to our goals, and the energy flows. That tightens down. It closes down the energy. It tightens up the energy. Interestingly, although I've been doing everything right that I'm supposed to on this program, I have been really, really like, I've got to get it right. I've got to get it right. And interestingly, this morning I woke up, done everything right, zero energy, and the my skin just going bonkers in all sorts of different directions. And it's like, oh, yeah, well, you didn't let go of the attachment, did you? I've been so fixated on it. I forgot to let go of the attachment. So letting go of the attachment is really important when you're actually putting the goal out there. This or something better. You may not get it 100%, but celebrate if you get 80%. Certainly celebrate if you get 90%. And if you get 100%, wow. But just allow yourself to be unattached. And that then allows Source to make it happen it may not happen in exactly the way you thought. I might think that addressing my autoimmune and my joints and all my health stuff is going to happen because I did this program. Source might have other ideas. I don't know. The other thing is, just how you want it to happen. And I always have in mind in a way that is healthy and for the highest good of all concerned, or the highest good of the planet. Just so that, yeah, there's plenty of ways to come into money, and some of them are not ways that you would want to come into money. So if you say healthy, easily, and for the highest good of all concerned, then you're putting in some qualities that allow it to happen in a loving way, in a supportive way, in a beneficial way. One of the things that we teach in the higher levels of Huna is we used to call it spell casting. We don't call it spell casting anymore. We call it pule, and pule means prayer. It does actually mean also spell casting, but we talk about it now as prayer rather than a spell. Um, because the idea is that my one of my teacher's father, Tad, who is my original teacher of Huna, Tad used to say, quoting another teacher, "In the word there is life, in the word there is death." We can kill our dreams with our words to ourselves, our words to others. Kids, teachers can kill the dreams of kids so quickly with their words, you know, and even it's even a thoughtless comment, something not they're not uh, it's not kind of determined bullying, it's just a thoughtless aside, and the child takes it and it kills a dream. And what Tad used to say is that every word casts a spell, every word is a prayer, every spell is a prayer. So really when we're praying for what we want, when we're putting out the intention for what we want, really what we're doing actually is a form of spell casting. So for those of you who've always wondered if you could be a witch, yes, you can. So, so let go of your attachment and be conscious of your words in terms of how you of what you say to yourself about your intentions, and if you're sharing them with others, what you say to others. Now, I've just heard Pete come in. I'm just going to go and ask him not to turn on the radio for the next 15 minutes because you'll hear it. So I'll just leave you to ponder with that thought. I'll be back. I want to call until 5:30, so no radio. Thank you. Anybody today? Thank you. I'll talk after. There we go. Right, there we go. Uninterrupted meditation until the neighbor drops by asking if I can give him a lift to the garage. Righty ho. Let's get going. And it is a short meditation, so you may or may not be glad to know. Right, we'll start with some heart breathing. And let me just check it's still sharing. Yeah. Can you hear that yet? I'll turn it up and see. Good. Excellent. All right, so let's just start with some breathing to get us nice and relaxed and into the mode. So breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, and the out breath's twice as long as the in breath. And yeah, you can either keep up with me or do it in your own time, but the ratio really helps connect with the polyvagal system and helps with the relaxation. So breathing in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. In. Out. In. Out. In. In. Out. In. In. Out. In. Out. And we'll do 4 more like this. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. Okay. So, with the power of your mind's eye, I'd like you to bring to mind the last step. If you've got several intentions, pick the one that's going to be the most, that's going to make the biggest difference, the one that's going to have the most impact and is more likely to affect the other ones. Or pick the one that you just like that one the best. Pick one, and with the power of your mind's eye, create a picture. You have just realized that you have achieved this goal of intention. You achieved the last step. See what you see, hear what you hear, feel what you feel, say what you need to say to yourself. Get the picture up and step into that picture. And it may be a movie, it may be a still, maybe color or black and white, whatever's most convincing for you. Step into the picture and really, really engage with all your senses so that you absolutely know it's happened. And as you engage with what you see, hear, feel, say to yourself, hear other people saying to you, then just step out, step back, and pick up the picture. And as you pick up the picture, just position it in the place that is most convincing. It might be a little higher, a little lower, Further in, further out, up to the left, the right, to the side, where it absolutely becomes its most convincing. If you need to turn up the color, turn that up. If you need to turn up the movement, turn that up. The location, that's the thing. When you've got that most convincing picture of you having achieved that goal, just pick it up and allow yourself to float up, way up high, way up high, right out of your body, just somewhere into the ether. As you float up, notice yourself down beneath you. You may notice a line that joins your past, present, and your future. We call that your timeline. And however that line goes, it may be straight, it may have a curve in it, through you, around you, but however that line is, staying way up high. Notice the line, and now we're going to breathe 4 hard breaths into the picture to energize it. So all together, breathing into the picture with the intention to energize. The energy into the breath as well. And now take the picture out. And find that place as you're looking down on your timeline, staying way up high. The date, whatever date it is, whether it's a week ahead, a month ahead, whatever date it is, and just hover above that date in your timeline. And then when you're ready, let go of your picture and just notice as your picture drifts down into your timeline, into that date. As it drifts down and lands in your timeline, notice how all the other events in your timeline readjust themselves to accommodate this goal and the success of this goal or intention. See your timeline readjust. You let go, drop it in. Timeline adjusts, sorts itself, resorts itself. You may almost sense a click or a lock, something that feeling that, yeah, that's in there. And then once you're happy, it's in the right place. Start to come back to now, staying way above your timeline. Come back to the point above now, only as quickly as you need to. Just enjoy that sensation of having created an intentional goal. Put it out into your future and let it go. And when you're back to the position right above now, just allow yourself to drop down into your body and back into your body. Back into the here and now, fully back into the here and now, fully present. Here we are. Notice your body. Sometimes your body can feel different after you've done this. Just back into your body, fully back into the present, into the here and now. And when you're ready, just have a little stretch, a little wiggle. If you need to stand up, shake, whatever you need to do. You're fully back and present. And I'm just going to abruptly shut off the music, which will definitely bring you back into the present if nothing else has. So we'll just stop that. Okay. Okie dokie. And we're back. So before I switch off the recordings, any questions from that process? Anything where it's like, something I need to know? Anything you need to know? Any questions, Marilyn?
Last time we spoke about attachment theory in the sense of going through steps. You remember it was marketing and that. So, but this attachment theory is different.
Yeah, this is not the intact.
This is really being attached to the outcome. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Attachment theory is about childhood and the attitudes towards relationships that you formed during childhood, and how how that affects your relationships now. This is simply attachment to a goal, to the outcome of the goal, and that's what we're letting go of. Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Okay. So, Nikki.
Sorry, I was a bit slow there. Was there something we were supposed to do to release attachment, or just is it the process of dropping it on that day?
The process of letting it go.
Yeah.
Enables you to drop it in there. But learn from my experience. If you notice yourself becoming very fixated on an intention that you've set, focus is one thing. There's a difference between focus and fixation. Focus and paying attention and taking action and all those things, they are about setting up the container so that the goal can actually happen. So the energy can move, source can do its work, and the goal can happen. But what we've just done there is really we're putting the intention out into the future. If you find in your taking action or in your focusing that you are becoming very attached to the goal and you're becoming quite almost to the point where, I would just be so disappointed. I would be so disappointed if it didn't happen. That's kind of test of attachment. If you that sense of, disappointment in case it doesn't, then there may be some baggage to release around the expectation, because you want to be as flat on it as possible at the same time as being motivated and wanting to go out and do what you need to do in order to get it. But there's something about however it happens will be perfect. And even if it happens less than I wanted, or in a way that in a way that I didn't want, what is there to learn from that experience? And opening yourself up to, if it doesn't happen in the way that I wanted or as I wanted it, then there will be learnings, and I'll get the learnings. Yeah. But motivation is useful if you're taking action on a goal. Any other questions? Okay, so I'm going to pause the Fathom recording. Just bear with me a second.